The morning Karen finally snapped. I'll tell you, it looked nothing like the peaceful lake sunrise I pictured the day we bought this place. Not even close. It was 7:42 a.m., air so cold it could bite mist curling up off the water in these ghostly ribbons. And then bang came the scream. Karen exploded out of her glass palace wearing nothing but a floral bathrobe and pure, unfiltered rage. Her hair looked like it had fought a tornado and lost slippers sinking into the mud as she stormed across her lawn straight at my crew, her voice cracked so bad it sounded like someone blowing out a speaker. "Stop! Stop right now!" she shrieked, but the post driver didn't care about HOA presidents or morning drama. Steel posts slammed into the ground right through the middle of her precious $20,000 rose garden, petals flying everywhere, red confetti sticking to her robe until she looked like some deranged Valentine's Day mascot. She clawed at the half-built fence nails, snapping mascara streaming down her cheeks in black rivers. A gardener's worst nightmare, my morning's main entertainment. Her husband Brent just stood there on the porch in pajama shorts muttering, "Karen, they're filming, come inside," but she was way past listening. She threatened lawyers, sheriffs, the HOA, even God all in one breath while I sipped my coffee beside my new no trespassing sign, breathing in the smell of crushed roses drifting across the wind. And the best part, this was only the beginning. Now, if you've ever tangled with a psycho neighbor, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If not, smash that subscribe before Karen calls the FBI on both of us. Most people think saving for your dream home is just about skipping Starbucks or canceling Netflix. For us, it was bone deep. 16 years of saving one hard decision at a time. I'm Jake 51, worn down mechanic with a bad back and a stubborn streak that matches the old trucks I fix for a living. My wife, Lena, she's the strongest person I know, hands down. Stronger than me, stronger than most, but even strength like that doesn't make you invincible. Doctors said the pain in her hands wasn't just stress. Rheumatoid arthritis, one of those words that feels like a sentence. The lake wasn't just a retirement plan, it was hope. Only place. The water eased Lena's pain enough for her to move without wincing. So we saved for 16 years. Generic cereal hand-me-downs, old cars, patched up with duct tape and prayer. While friends posted vacation pics, we fixed what kept breaking. Every dollar, every sacrifice just for one thing, a quiet cabin on a lake where Lena could float weightless even just 20 minutes a day. When the listing popped up 1 acre on Crescent Bay, the cabin didn't look like much. Small, weather-beaten, leaning just enough to make me think it had its own back pain. The deck wobbled, the roof had seen better centuries. But that shoreline, crystal water, soft waves, yeah, it was worth every single struggle. Of course, we immediately noticed the difference between us and the neighbors. Our place looked like a fisherman's postcard. Next door, a $2.5 million fortress of glass and steel that belonged in an architecture magazine not on a lake. That place belonged to her. We hadn't even met her yet, but the stories were flying. "Watch out for that one," the realtor whispered, nodding at the mansion like it was haunted. "She thinks the whole lake belongs to her. Controls the HOA like a queen. Don't cross her unless you like paperwork and misery. Karen Beaumont." The Karen. Queen of Crescent Bay. I laughed it off. Every neighborhood has a nightmare, right? Had no idea how right those warnings were. Moving day. Lena stood on the dock shoulders, relaxing for the first time in months, breathing in pine and cold water. "This is it," she whispered. And I believed her, right up until I heard the sharp click of designer heels on the dock. Karen was coming, hair pulled tight, sunglasses reflecting the lake like she owned the sun stack of papers in hand, judgment hanging off her like expensive perfume. She smiled, but you know that smile, the one that means bad news is coming and she's going to enjoy telling it. "You must be the new resident," she said, dripping venom. "There's something we need to discuss immediately." And just like that, I felt the first crack in our dream. Didn't know it yet, but the lake we thought would heal us was about to become a battlefield. She didn't walk, she marched, clicking her heels like gunshots. She thrust the papers in my face. "This is an established community easement," she snapped. "You can't block access to the shoreline. Move your things immediately." I looked at those papers, smelled like expensive toner and lies. "Ma'am," I said, "this is private property, my deed." She cut me off with a laugh, sharp enough to skin a fish. Deeds can be misleading. The communities used this shoreline long before you came along, already demanding tribute like some HOA warlord. I kept my cool, just trying to fix the dock. "My wife needs the water therapy. There will be no unauthorized construction," she fired back. "You people can't just show up and start changing things. You people, the first sting." She hit speed dial. "Sheriff Morrison." "Yes, it's Karen. We have a situation. Like I was some criminal mastermind." 17 minutes later, Morrison rolls up record time for our rural county, and the second he saw Karen, he melted. "Morning, Karen. What's going on?" She put on a show. Trembling voice, glistening eyes. "Sheriff, I was just trying to enforce our agreements. He became aggressive. I feel unsafe." Aggressive? I'd barely spoken 10 sentences. Morrison gave me that "don't rock the boat" speech, told me to get along with Karen. Didn't give me a chance to explain. As his taillights disappeared, Karen turned and gave me a slow, victorious smile. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be," and just strutted away. And for the first time since buying the place, I felt helpless. But deep down, I also felt something else. A spark. Because Karen just picked a fight with the wrong person. If that first encounter felt like a warning shot, the next few weeks were a full-blown siege. Nothing explosive, just daily stabs sharp enough to bleed us dry. Code violations appeared, orange notices on the porch railing, unapproved waterfront modification. I'd replaced 2 loose boards. Next day, illegal fire pit. Our metal Home Depot ring. Non-regulation mailbox. Unsanctioned shoreline activity. Everything was a violation. Appeals and permits disappeared mysteriously or came back missing documents. Meanwhile, Karen's projects approved instantly: deck extension, fancy lights, flamingo kayak ramp. The fix was in. Brent, her husband, ran zoning like a fiefdom. Then the sneakier stuff started: trash dumped on our property line, dog droppings, footprints near our window, and the whispers, neighbors gossiping, calling me unstable. Karen's social poison did its work. Soon people were crossing the street to avoid me. Then 4th of July. Lena's joints were bad that week, so we stayed home. Just wanted to float a while, ease her pain. We walked down to our shoreline and stopped. 20 strangers were there. Karen had set up a catered spread on our land. Lobster champagne DJ booth. She spotted us, smile like a knife, raised her glass, and announced, "Everyone, this is the guy I told you about. He gets very emotional." Her guests laughed, stared, humiliated. Lena turned pale. I never felt so small or so angry. That night, after everyone left and Lena sat crying on the porch, I made a promise. Not out loud, just inside a steel plate sliding into place. Enough. She thought we'd roll over, but she was wrong. Next morning, I grabbed coffee and my stubbornness and drove to the county courthouse. I dug through folders, maps, old surveys, hours in the musty basement until I found it. An original 1984 survey map showing my property stretched 22 feet farther than the current version. Karen's Roses deck, outdoor kitchen, all of it, on my land. I hired a licensed surveyor, one not from Brent's circle. 3 days later, bright metal stakes started popping up in Karen's manicured yard. When the crew started hammering them in, she stormed out in a panic. "What are you doing? That's my yard." "Not according to this," the surveyor said, holding up the official map. She accused me of manipulating county records. I laughed. If I could do that, I'd own a mansion. For the first time, she looked scared not of me, but of losing her power, and the balance shifted. Digging deeper, I found more her dock, her boat lift, those luxury lights. None of it was legal. Built too long, extended into protected waters. LED lights in fish spawning zones, boat lift with no permit tag, imported stones disturbing the shoreline. Piece by piece, her whole lakeside empire was illegal. But the wildest twist, a forgotten 1971 easement, an old access road that ran right under her garden and deck. Legally, it was still mine to use. So I filed every complaint I could zoning environmental waterway access, all with evidence. 3 days later, the state rolled in with environmental inspectors. Karen put on a smile, but they were all business, taking photos, writing violations, measuring encroachments. She tried to argue, but her empire was crumbling. The day the fence crew came was the real breaking point. Miguel and his guys started work permits in hand, survey markers in place. Karen exploded, screaming, hurling slurs, threatening to have them deported. Miguel just calmly hit record on his phone. Karen tried to tear out the fence posts, then came back with bolt cutters. The neighbors came out to watch, not to help, just to see the meltdown. A little kid shouted, "Look, it's the fence witch." The name stuck. By that evening, every kid was chanting it. Karen's mask was off, her power broken. She tried intimidation, left anonymous notes, ranted online, but it was over. Contractors refused her jobs, neighbors ignored her. The fence went up straight and true, and with every post, Karen's influence shrank. Then came the final storm. A county clerk slipped me 5 years of permit logs, dozens of fast-track approvals for Karen's circle, endless denials for everyone else. Brent had weaponized zoning for years. Word spread. A Channel 7 reporter, Lisa Rodriguez, interviewed me then. Half the neighborhood came forward. People who'd been bullied, fined, denied, humiliated. And then, one afternoon, an FBI agent showed up. They'd been gathering evidence for months, but now with my documentation and the inspector's reports, they had enough to move. Corruption, bribery, permit, fraud, all of it coming to a head. Karen. She kept doubling down, hiring vandals to damage my property, dumping chemicals in the lake, caught on camera. She filed a false police report, accused me of threatening her with a rifle I didn't own. It all backfired. The FBI swooped in at her annual Crescent Bay Gala, arrested Brent in front of the whole community, and Karen, well, she had a televised meltdown. I calmly read off her crimes, held up her incriminating emails. She lunged at me with a microphone. Agents cuffed her right there. The next morning, Crescent Bay felt different, quieter, lighter, free. The community came together to clean up, restore the lake, help Lena and other kids learn to swim. Brent did prison time. Karen lost everything, her mansion, her power, her fake respect. The property sat empty, weeds climbing over the stone walkways. Good riddance. But the real victory. The community healed. People talked, again helped each other. Lena started teaching adaptive swimming, and that dock became a place of hope for every kid who needed it. We didn't just defend a property line, we saved a neighborhood. So if you've ever faced a Karen, a bully with power, don't give up. You're not as helpless as they want you to believe. Sometimes justice takes the long way around, but it gets there. If this story hit home, drop your neighbor horror stories in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want more wild tales like this, you know what to do. The lake's peaceful now, but the lesson's louder than ever. Stand your ground, protect what matters, and never let anyone write your ending for you.